Hello everyone, welcome to the Tech Podcast series. This is Lakshit Pan from Azure Developer Community, and today we are going to talk about some interesting topics, some creativity, and a lots of things. So today in this podcast, we talk about multiple startups, their journey, what they are building, how they are building for future and innovation. So today we have from Axis 3D Studios is the one of the leading studios offering cutting edge content and installation solutions for animation, CGVFX, for project mappings, holographic projection, and a lot more things. So for the same, we have here Mr. Avijit Samajdar, founder of Axis 3D Studios. So Avijit, if you could introduce yourself a little bit.
Hi everyone. First of all, thank you for inviting me for this podcast. And I am Avijit. So I am actually what you would call in our technical language in our field. I'm a projection designer.
Okay.
So when we talk about projection designer, it's like just like you make a movie for a movie screen, we create dynamic content which can be on any facade. It can be a building, it can be a historic monument, it can be even a statue. So what we do is the content which is created, and it is created in such a way that it interacts with the topography of the surface. So certain places where the surface is curved or undulating and everything, we play with those surfaces with light, and so we basically we cheat the visual we cheat the visitors by thinking as if the building is moving. It's interacting with the story, so it makes it very immersive. And as of today, I mean, it's been there all over the world. I mean, projects have been happening like this. But in India now, lots of monuments have come up, and they are coming up, where this amazing technology is being implemented.
Yeah, that's a
So
fantastic intro. And if I'll say you do the magic behind the screen to make it more immersive and emerging for all the viewers, right? That's yeah.
so you
It's
see,
amazing.
Lakshit, I'll just interrupt you for a sec. I mean, you see, a magician is the one who's standing on stage. Okay, so
Yes.
people all think that he's doing, but then there are hundreds of people who work with him backstage over there. There's a lot of technology which goes into it.
Yeah,
So
that's
together, when it all comes into place, that's when the magic happens. So it's an amalgam, I will say, between technology, between creativity, and of course, immense experience and hard work.
definitely. And I was just exploring the your company and what you do and all the stuffs, like where you are projected to, what are the verticals, what solution you provide. But after doing my homework for this podcast, the first question that came to my mind, you have mentioned you started in 2008, and back then there were not so many resources and not that much exposure. I just wanted to know how has your journey started with VFX industry. Did you started with something else then pivoted to this industry, or how this creativity happened?
Yeah, see, I started my career in something entirely different. I was in the travel business. I had a travel company also of my own, and so it's been a journey which has meandered, through various places. अब हिंदी में बोलो तो बहुत घाट के पानी पी के आए हैं. तो but then yes, the creativity was always there. The creative side was always there. So way back in 2008, we also diversified into animation, and we also have our marketing office in South Korea, Seoul. So I've been associated with Korea for many years now. It's been over almost 30 years now. So I speak that language, and I read and write that language. I've lived there for many years. So that is, I mean, in the Far East is where projection mapping had actually come up in a big way. I'm talking about the year 2008, 2009. So technology wasn't there that time to support you with everything. The hardware and things which were there. But
Exactly,
then,
right.
yes. So as and when technology helped us, so things started getting more and more immersive. More and more things started coming in, and today I believe it's like it's a wonderful place to be in, because you have immense support from technology. You have an immense support from the huge experience which has come in with of the personnel who are in this field. And also, so your imagination, see, imagination is something, it can be your biggest friend, it can be your biggest enemy, it can be
Right.
your biggest enhancer, it can be your biggest limiter, right?
Right.
So when you're talking imagination, so as an artist, I let my imagination run wild. But today I know it can be supported by the technology which is there, by the layers we create. The so so the effects which will come will be much more what do you call, much more magical as of today.
So, as an organization, as a company, first of all, I just like to know for our audience perspective, if you could help us, what are the solution that you provide as an organization, so that if anyone wants to connect with you or anyone wants to see your work, or and also I just we would love to hear any proud work that you have done in past few years that you are really proud of. That yeah, this is something we have done, and this is the achievement that really like a milestone for us.
Lakshit, see, as an artist, I am proud of all my work. It's like आप माँ बाप से पूछ रहे हो आपका कौन सा बच्चा ज्यादा फेवरेट है.
Okay,
ठीक
yeah,
है?
that's
Each one of them, each of the work which we have done as a team, I think I love it. I love the work, and I love my work. Let me tell you this. I just love my work. 24 घंटे भी कम पड़ते हैं मेरे को to stay within this. I don't like to be disturbed. I don't want to come out of this. So that's it. So as a company, we provide solutions, complete turnkey solutions for installations, permanent installations, for projection mappings, for dome projections. So dome projections is something which you must have seen in planetariums, you know. So now lots of that thing has got further extended into something which we call as a flying theater. So where
okay.
the dome is vertically in front of you, and then you're on the seat comes in front and it moves along with it. So I mean, it's almost a roller coaster ride without being on a roller coaster, and it's immensely immersive. So we do dome projections and also holographic projections, which can either be outdoors, massive holograms. So holographic projection, the beauty of that is it appears as if it's floating in the air.
Exactly.
So it's all happening in the air. So it's like a character suddenly flies down from the air and comes in front of you. So it's very beautiful to see actually. So we do that. We also do water projection. So water projection is also another part of holographic projection, where you create a thin layer of water, which is atomized. So it comes at a very high pressure. It's in the air, and so that basically forms your screen on which the projection happens. So again, it appears as if in the middle of the lake or in the middle of the water body it's happening. So then it's further supported by fountains and lasers and moving heads and lights and everything. So it's exactly how do you take everything together to create an effect which you wish to show. So we do all these things. We do all these things.
Yeah, that's very nice and amazing work. And when people see from outside, it looks very easy and appealing, but from the inside perspective, from the tech perspective, I know it's very daunting task. You have to put so much mind, you have to invest a lot of time and efforts to build, and lots of hardware is required there. So, and certainly if we will talk about the market of the emerging or the immersive technology, the market has been suddenly emerged, I will say, or boomed up in some sense, because I can see, I'm also AR creator, so I can see in the market the rise of the AR creations and the VR creations has suddenly increased. As per when we talk about approximately, I've seen the difference between 1 year. So past 1 year ago there was nothing, and now every company is using AR effects for their promotions. And similarly, then VFX, then so VFX and these animations require next level hardware. So not much people can adopt all these hardwares. That's why it's little bit that compacted. But I can see this, the culture has been really boomed up, and I'm really pretty sure that companies like you has done this for our country. And what I just wanted to know from your perspective, how you have seen this, the curve that has suddenly increased in this animation industry.
I mean, if you ask me from animation industry per se, so the animation industry was always doing quite well in India. So you see, most of the Hollywood films you see, the VFX work on that's all outsourced to India.
Yeah.
And all this amazing work which you see, which is happening in most of these Hollywood movies, it's done. A big chunk of it is done from India. We have, you see, something about us Indians, especially I will say about your generation, the young generation. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazingly talented. Indians are talented, and so the work which comes out, the the the, the finesse of work which comes out is really good. So per se, animation was always doing well. Nowadays, you see our Bollywood movies. See the level of, uh, level of, I mean, excellence we are achieving in terms of the visual delight we give to the audience. So most of it is VFX work. There's so much green screen, blue screen shoots going on, chroma shoots going on, and everything. All those amazing stunts you see. Of course, it's done by the actors or the stuntmen and everything. But the backgrounds, everything, it's all animation. It's all animation VFX. So when you talk about animation, you're covering a huge broad area. You are covering animation, you're covering the modeling of it, you're covering the VFX part of it, you're covering production, post production work. Everything has a little bit of animation to it. So it's cutting edge software and hardware which is there. But then as I always say, you can have cutting edge software, you can have cutting edge hardware, but the human skill, you cannot replace that. The human skill is like, it's like, I mean, if I'm a good sculptor, मेरे हाथ में whatever chisel you give me, whatever hammer you give me, I will be able to make something out of it,
Exactly.
right? As an artist, if I have a brush in my hand, I will know exactly how to apply the stroke, right? So maybe the stroke will come out better if I have a better brush. That's all. But then that the human factor, the human skill is there, and I for one, I am very happy with technology coming up this way, including AI. Many of my colleagues and all sometimes say, oh, AI is coming in, it's the new evil in town, like things whenever something new comes up. No, it's not.
Exactly.
It's like, uh, it can be your best friend if you use it well. It can help you
Exactly.
in so many things. And you being a software developer, you will understand. You can't blame technology for all the wrongs a human does. Yeah, come on.
Exactly right. So you have narrated so well, I not need to make any comments upon this. So you have excellently explained it everything. So now, when as you have driven this podcast to AI side, I just wanted to know from your perspective, as India is known for its talented pool, as you have already mentioned. So I just wanted to know if you can elaborate how ATDS find the right skill set in India. So someone wants to join your team, or maybe what qualities or attributes do you look for when specifically hiring animators, considering global competition in the animation industry, because you are working at a global level. So how do you find these footing?
See, okay, this I will slightly, I shall slightly narrow it down to my field of work. What we do now, right, in projection mapping, in immersive technology, what we do. Uh, it's a very specialized part of animation, and it requires a certain, what do you call, a certain awareness, special awareness. Means somebody who's sitting down to create a content for a projection and immersive content must have that vision of finally how it is going to look on that surface. I'll give you a very good example. One of recent projects which we have completed is the world's tallest Shiva statue. It is at a staggering height of 369 feet. Okay, it is at Nadwara in Udaipur. It is called the Statue of Belief. Amazing structure, amazing building. Means you have elevators running inside it. It's so big. Okay, and it is the largest sitting statue in the world as of today. It's taller than the Statue of Liberty. So when, and that statue has a very very what do you call, a very typical bronze color to it, which actually makes it look very beautiful. But then when you are per se doing a projection mapping onto it, okay, so when your light falls onto it, reacting with the surface color, the color changes. So let's say green looks pink.
Okay.
So when you're using a
Fantastic.
green color, so it looks pink. So and then if I throw white light on it, I can't recreate white light on that surface because the surface is bronze, so it'll look bronze. So the artists must have that vision to understand what is the typical color palette we'll create, so that when I create it in this color, he must have that vision in his mind to understand that on the surface this is how it is going to look. You understood? So when we
Yeah.
do geometric corrections of certain things, so I'm just simplifying it as far as possible. So when we do geometric corrections of certain patterns or certain designs which we are creating, or maybe it's a visionary art you're creating. So it's like, how visionary art is, like a bit surreal, a bit a bit realistic, a bit not so realistic. So when you're bringing in all these elements together, the artist must know exactly what he wants to achieve. So now that's a very rare virtue. So, but then yes, I am very proud of my team. Some members of my team have been with me for the last, I think, 12, 15 years now.
Okay, that's
And I don't know now who loves the other more. They love me more, or I love them more. So, like,
that's
they,
both ways, right? You can't say like they love me more. You like that's both ways.
so, so I guess it's very important to have a great team. So coming back to your original question of how do we look for them, you see, so typically what will happen is when an artist applies, we see their work profile and we see the show reels and all, but we take a test, so we know exactly what they are going to do. So uh, and then once they come in, they are taken in, then they are kept on a certain time, because most unfortunately most of the animation schools not yet teach them what to do in a real situation where we have a projection mapping or a dome projection, things like that. Okay, so it's more like a normal syllabus. They know how to run the softwares, like say uh, from Maya or Max or After Effects, or all the other softwares, Nuke or things like that. But they don't really know how they can possibly use it for what we do. So we train them in house.
Okay.
And I always believe one thing, you don't need to be immensely talented to do good work. You must have the right attitude.
Okay.
So if the artist has the right attitude, and of course they're an artist, so they have imagination, there's no doubt about it. But I think good imagination, I mean, paired with good attitude, I think creates amazing professionals in this field.
Yeah, now taking this podcast to more of a AI side with the rise of the AI in the field in the sector, how has the overall culture transformed, and how has the roles of these artists, the responsibilities of these artists evolved in in the AI driven landscape? Because if you see, there are multiple things like stable diffusion is there. So the verticals have been differently differentiated. If I would say like the work of animators, so VFX was already always there. I just wanted to know from an animator perspective, how has the this differentiation has been evolved there.
So certain things, I'm sure, over time, let's say very very rote, very hard work which was required. Let's say when we are talking about rotoscopy. Okay, so rotoscopy is a thing where every frame by frame, the artist sits and corrects it, or does the outline, or takes a cutout of that, or masks certain parts. That is a very very what do you call time taking process, and immensely it's a very monotonous job when you're doing it. I'm sure AI will, it has already started doing this, and AI will take over this job, which is a very good thing, that artist can put his own skills and his own imagination, his talent into something else, rather than sitting and doing cutouts frame by frame by frame. So when I'm
Exactly.
talking doing cutout frame by frame, you're talking about 30 frames per second or 24 frames per second.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
so from that point of view, at times at the concept stage, with all these new softwares which have come in where you can visualize something to happen and all, so I think a concept artist's work will become much easier when he's trying to visualize something and AI helps him to do it. But n- being an artist and knowing artists, I can tell you one thing: artists will never take somebody else's work. So even if something has been created by AI to give a inspiration, it can be an inspiration for them to create something on similar lines. But the artist will still do his own things, and probably he'll even get better at it, because now he's got an exposure to something which helps him more.
Okay.
So I look at it like that. And same with animation. Animation, already there were lots of what do you call, little scripts which is used in thing, like Python scripts are used, like let's say a horse is going, okay, and every time his hoof hits the ground, the little pebbles are flying. So the animator doesn't have to do it again and again and again. So those things are already there. Now with AI, I'm sure these things will get even better, even better. You see a movie which had special effects in 2005, 2006. See a movie now.
Yeah.
Isn't it more
Exactly.
realistic? Isn't it more
Exactly.
beautiful? So that's
Right.
how it is. So I think we shouldn't be scared of AI. I mean, we should be probably scared of what we do with it. Uh, Technology by itself is not what you call. It's not diabolic by itself. It's how you use it that makes it so.
Yeah, and I totally agree with every point that you have narrated right here, because AI can, it's always there to, the reduce the human effort, right? It's
Yes.
there to help, as you mentioned, like a best friend, so that the effort can be reduced and the artist can put his time, his efforts on the right side, on the building it, building something really cool with alongside with the help of the AI.
Yeah.
So yeah. And when people say AI will take, so I have seen this very frequently, though. I'm so I have been very, against the when way people say AI will take this job or so, and I don't. So my recommendation, my social media recommendation is like, I don't get any post like this AI will take job or like this, but I see people saying mostly about, they are just writing a blog and mentioning AI will take this job, AI will take do this, but it's never gonna take the job. It's more like it will help us to build more, to explore more, and at the same time to innovate more, according to me. Now, I just saw your couple of works, and specifically you have mentioned, I've seen in the email the Ayodhya project. If you could, sounds intriguing. If you could shed some light on the details and the vision behind the water projection project, and what were the some challenges if you might have faced, and how did you overcome, and to make it a memorable experience? Because for Indian folks, for us, it's a very beautiful thing to see, to experience. So I just wanted to know your person.
So we recently completed the Ayodhya project, and it is something everyone in my team and myself, for that matter, and even the clients and everyone, they're extremely proud of and very happy with. So we had a challenge there. How to explain it? So basically, it's a water projection. There is Surya Kund in Ayodhya. It's a
Mhm.
very holy, and it has a lot of history behind it.
Okay.
And it's a very old, ancient pond
Okay.
which is there. It is fed from underground by underground springs and all. And so that in the middle of that lake, we have created the water projection. So
Okay.
it's a huge sheet of water which rises up. It's invisible in the dark, so you can't see that water. And along with fountains and lights with it and all, we have said the story of Lord Ram over there, because Ayodhya is the place of Lord Ram. And that story, I won't tell you about the story because I don't want to give it out. But it's a beautiful story. And also it touches upon the history of Surya
Yeah.
Kund and everything. And I mean, I think it's there for everything. Every time we create something, you make something, and then when you're sitting there and you see the crowd response, the way they scream and they're happy, they're ecstatic to see something in front of them. I mean, I think it makes it all worth it. It makes it all worth it. The other, I'll just tell you one more. Adi Yogi statue
Right.
in
Yeah.
Yoga Center. So
Yeah.
we did that in 2019, and
Okay.
we won the Mondo Awards for that in that year. So for that, so it is the world's first. Arguably, it's the first black statue in the world which has been projected. I mean, on which projection mapping has been done. It's a 112 feet statue, black in color. So
Mm.
have you seen the statue? I'm sure
Yeah.
you must
Yeah.
have seen it. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen it.
Should visit there sometime and see it. So
Yeah.
so that statue, it narrates the story of how from Adi Yogi he became Adi Guru.
Okay.
So how he gave the he taught yoga to the Saptarishis and to Devi Parvati, and then to his ganas and everything. So you see, when you're saying a story on a surface like this, and the audience is resonating with that story because they find it immersive. They feel as if that whole statue has come alive. So it creates that sort of a effect which you want to create on your audience, and then you realize, okay, fine, yeah, we managed it this time, we did it well this time.
Yeah.
So so
And
so each
yeah.
of this project, so yeah, so I coming back to that, Ayodhya had its challenges. One is, see, when you do a water projection, your projector is always placed behind the screen. So it's not a reflective image you see a refractive image. So basically the
Okay.
light, see, light always needs a screen to fall on, whether
Right.
you create it which can be visible in the eye or which is not visible in the eye, but light just cannot happen in the air. It needs a medium to reflect back upon. So what happens is, so we place the projectors behind. So when you place a projector behind a water screen which is almost transparent, so there's bound for some light to escape onto the other side. So, and here the seating position was such because there are ghats on all the sides. So people are sitting at a
Mhm.
higher level. So when the projector
Okay.
is below and the light is coming out, so the glare from the projector tends to hit the eye, right?
Okay.
So to avoid that, we place the projector at a slightly different angle. So too much of that also creates a chance of creating ghost images. So, but then yes, I think it was a challenge. We managed to do it right, and
I wonder how much calculation you would have done to place it at the right place so that to make it an incredible experience for the folks, and then and for people, it's a immersive experience that they can feel it right now. And you know the best part right now talking about this, having a discussion about this is I can see that glow of the work that so you are explaining the work that you have done. I can see the glow in your eyes how you are explaining, and that's the best part, and that shows the dedication of our work and you really enjoy your work. That's the best thing I have ever seen in earlier podcast. So I really appreciate that. And
thank you. Let's.
yeah, that's and I hope during this building these all these experiences you might have, you definitely got have multiple opportunities to visit some amazing historical sites, to build some, you know, really nice, to do some work upon them, to work with them. Is there an experience you would like to share visiting any, you know, any historical sites or something like this?
Oh yes, there are quite a few many projects. I can't tell you about them because they're ongoing at the moment. So we have
Okay.
NDAs and all with our client. We can't mention it. But then uh, you get to visit all these places. All these wonderful places, India as well as abroad, for all the projects which we do. So you do the team travels. The team also goes. So any of your young visitors who's wanting a career in this, it's a great career to be in. But don't treat it like a 9 to 5 job because it is not.
Okay.
You have to be willing to sit outdoors, sometimes mosquitoes biting you, sometimes not so pleasant, okay, near water bodies, near other places. So while the work is going on in real time, you're sitting and doing something. So uh, but then yes, it has its delightful moments too. You get to see places, you go to visit certain places, and then you can always go back and tell your family, look, you see that I was a part of that team, I did that. So you can do that. Also, I believe, in life, whatever happens, like Steve Jobs says, when you look back at your life, then you realize your life made senses. You join the dots, and the dots do get added up. I was, like I told you at the beginning, I was in the travel business. So from a very young age, I was traveling everywhere, all over the world. I was traveling, of course, in India. So today, when I visit those sites as a projection designer, I've already been to those sites before. So let's say in a Buddhist sector, in one of the sites in where, let's say, Lord Buddha attained his Mahaparinirvana, in Kushinagar. Suppose when I go there as a projection designer today, I already have an experience of having visited it so many times before, so I know exactly the location, what it is, and how it should be treated, the sanctity of that place, the emotions which run in people about that place. So when I create my content, that bag of experience which I had at that time helps me a lot. So in this case, I believe I have been extremely blessed that I had this experience in my life before.
Yeah, and now on a quick note, I just wanted to know if you can quickly explain the roadmap, how you will suppose if there is any project. I just wanted to know how's the workflow if you have to build. Let's talk about the Ayodhya project only. If you know, you have told about the vision that the maybe the sculptor or maybe the artist needs to see that this is this needs to be the final output, right? So I just wanted to know what are the steps that you see or you feel in between, which needs to be considered while making uh, all these, you know, all these projections or all these feeds.
Be it a projection mapping on a monument, a statue, a building, or whatever, or be it even a water projection, be it a holographic projection, be it, the first thing is to sit down with the client and get to know what the client wants.
Okay.
That is step one. Okay, you must understand what is the client envisioning, what is there in their mind, what is there in their heart, what they wish to show. Then we come in. Then the obviously the next obvious process is to go and visit the site. We do visit the site, and then technically we take the measurements of that area. We check it out. We see exactly what are the, see, every site has its advantages, every site has its certain challenges. All right.
Exactly.
So we take that into consideration. So then there's a professional in our field which is who is a projectionist. The projectionist also visits. So he sees, this is the facade, this is the surface. So we calculate the surface. Then there's a lot of maths which goes behind. Okay, so this is my surface. So this is the number of projectors we'll require. uh, each will throw a canvas of so much size, so we blend all the canvases together to create one single canvas. So those mathematics happens behind, then we go backwards. So it always, in my case, it always starts with this: what do I wish to create, what does my client want me to create?
Okay.
From there we go backwards. To do this, this is what we require. So this is the hardware we require, this is the challenges of the place, so this is what we need to do. So that is how we go backwards. And then when it all falls into place, it it happens, it happens well.
The magic happens. Okay, so looking ahead, any exciting project or development, if you could share, if there is no any on in future that you are coming up, or is any particular direction you as an organization are focusing on exploring, if you could share.
There are quite a few exciting projects coming up. One of which I am very excited about, and which a whole team have been working on, is the experience center in the Nathdwara statue. So we did the projection mapping on the facade of the statue. Now, inside the statue, there's this huge experience center which we are creating. It's
Okay.
totally immersive, totally immersive. So you go there and you're lost into an entirely different world. You're transported into an entirely different world. I can't tell you more of it. So, but I would definitely like your viewers to definitely go and visit.
Definitely.
And this one, there is, I'm of course that is for a client for whom we are designing all the interiors and the content for a space museum which is coming up in Jhansi. It is one of a kind, and so that's also using lots of technology now. So it talks about the various what do you call, the various aspects of space and how it is, and that's immensely immersive also. It has things, it has a dome theater also to it. So these are all various other projects which we are working on. There are quite a few many in the pipeline. I'm sure over time we will be able to show you all, and show other
I'm
things
sure
also which are
looking forward to your awesome work, and definitely looking forward to visit all those amazing sites and to experience the work that you are doing. And at last, we are already gone afar. I just wanted to check if you have, as a closing remark, if you could share anything with our viewers, those who want to make a career in this field, specifically for a young audience who wants to build up a career as a projection designer, or maybe as a 3D artist, or maybe as an animator. What's the best
yes.
piece of advice you can share with them?
If they have that dream and they have that talent, I think they should go for it. I tell all, see, I work with this with my artists. The average age is 22, 23. The young generation, and I get to learn a lot from them. And this generation is something I'm extremely proud of, and I think there's a there's this immense, you all can take our country forward to. We are already at the cusp where our country is reaching to a entirely different level, and it is on the shoulders of this generation to take it even beyond that. And but like I tell my young is, देखो, being an artist, no, you are very blessed. आपके ऊपर सरस्वती का आशीर्वाद है,
Yes.
जब सरस्वती माँ का आशीर्वाद हो आपके ऊपर, डोंट डोंट वरी, लक्ष्मी आपके पीछे जरूर आएगी, लक्ष्मी आपके पास आएगी, लक्ष्मी के पीछे मत भागो।
Right.
आपको जिनका आशीर्वाद है, आप उनकी इज्जत करो, आप यू डू दैट व्हाट यू हैव बीन टैलेंटेड विद, लक्ष्मी आपके पास वैसे ही आएगी। ठीक है, सो
Exactly.
दिस इज व्हाट आई विल एडवाइस ऑल माय young viewers and our budding artists
Exactly.
and
Budding.
fashion designers of the future.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for that advice. That you being very honest with that when you said that, and thanks for joining for this podcast. It was really nice interacting with you to talk about your work, your experiences, and all the amazing work that you are doing and building. Giving us the feel of our ancient societies, our ancient culture, and everything that we believe
Oh yes,
in. So
absolutely.
yeah, it's a pleasure to host you here for this podcast, and definitely looking forward to collaborate more. We do a lots of things around AR, so I would love to see if we can collaborate sometimes for that, and we can discuss upon that also. So thank
Absolutely,
you for
Lakshit.
joining.
was such
Yeah,
a pleasure talking with you.
yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.